All right, ladies, Tuesday the 19th. This is a full body. This was one of my favorite ones, actually, but it is challenging. So maybe that's why I liked it. All right, we have squat with circle raise, Superman, lunge, lunge, press, crunch progression. A couple that we haven't done before, but if you've been with me, you might be able to catch on. Squat with circle raise, squat down, circle raise, up, squat down, circle raise, up. Supermans, you all know these. Up, down, up, down. Lunge, lunge, press. So sometimes we've done like lunge, lunge, squat before. This is lunge, lunge, press. So reverse, reverse, shoulder press, reverse, reverse, shoulder press. And then our crunch progression, 10, 10, 10. That's 10 regular crunch, 10 tabletop crunch, 10 extended leg crunch, we'll say. So 10 regular, 10 tabletop, 10 extended. So basically your legs are what the progression is. So 10 at the lowest, 10 medium, 10 high. Okay, squat with circle raise. So usually you're gonna use a pretty light weight, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you're clearing your knees when you do the raise part. So I usually get a pretty wide stance. I come down, my weights are hanging in between my legs. Again, you wanna make sure that you clear your knees. So you're gonna have to hold them. Like if we were doing a regular circle raise, my weights would be like here, and I would circle up. Because we're squatting, they're gonna come more in front of you and a little bit away from your body because you don't wanna hit your legs. So your weights are like this, your palms are facing out, the weights are a little bit in front of you. You're gonna raise up into a circle, come back down, up, squat, circle raise, stand, squat, circle raise, stand. So it's pretty easy. So you're not gonna be like squatting super, super low, but you should see and feel a difference between when you're squatting and when you're standing. And then your circle raise, like I mentioned, you have your palms facing out. You just circle up above your head and come back down. So that's a pretty easy one. Above your head, back down. Superman. So if you've never done these before, they feel really weird when you're doing them, but basically what you're doing is you're laying on your stomach and you're lifting your arms and your legs off the ground at the same time. So what that's doing is it's working like the whole back side of your body. So that's why this is such a good exercise, but a lot of people hate it because it's kind of like triceps, like we never, and even like calf muscles, it's not often in everyday life that you isolate just those things. And usually in everyday life, we're always using the front half. We're always pushing things, pulling things, whatever it is, sitting up, sitting down. That's all using a lot of the front of our body and maybe your butt. But in general, we're not really using the whole back of our body. So when you're in this, like this, back up a little bit. So you got your arms out, your legs out. And like I said, you're gonna lift your arms and your legs off the ground at the same time. So you're just basically balancing on your stomach. So you're gonna lift up, come down, lift up, come down. So like I said, it feels awkward, it might be uncomfortable. If you're out of breath, it's really important to breathe when you're doing these because you're out of breath and you're laying on your stomach, which makes it harder to breathe. So a lot of times I go, hold my breath on the way up, exhale on the way down. Hold, breathe, hold, breathe, okay? So again, it might be hard. Like a lot of people sometimes have trouble lifting their legs off the ground like that because you're using your lower back, your butt, and your hamstrings. And if you have tight hamstrings, sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try your best. It'll be fine. Lunge, lunge, press. So this does not have to be weighted, but I do intended for them to be weighted. So you would hold your weights up on your shoulders. You're gonna do 2 reverse lunges. So 1, reverse lunge other side. When you come in the middle, you're gonna do a shoulder press. That counts as 1 rep. So lunge, lunge, press, 2. Lunge, lunge, press, 3, lunge, lunge, press, 4. So just a reminder with your lunges, you're going backward, 90 degree, 90 degree, center, 90 degree, 90 degree, center, press, that's 1. Make sure that when you're lunging, that your feet are staggered, not tight roped. And anytime you're doing like something with a few exercises strung together into one, just always make sure that you have the proper foot placement. So like if you've been with me before, we've done lunge, lunge, squat. I always tell them, because when you lunge, your feet are narrow. When you don't want to come in and squat like this, so you have to reposition and then squat. You're somebody who might want to lunge, lunge, widen, and press. Lunge, lunge, widen, press. So you always want to make sure that you're in a position, in a body position that you're comfortable in before you move on, even though they all go together, okay? So don't feel like you're like rushing or like unbalanced because you're trying to do them all together so quickly. It's okay if there's like a little pause to readjust your body before you move on. So lunge, lunge, press equals 1. Lunge, lunge, press equals 2. You're doing 10. And then we have our crunch progression. So, like I mentioned, if you watch this quickly, you're gonna do 10 regular crunch, 10 tabletop crunch, 10 extended leg crunch, I'm gonna call it. I don't know what it's really called, but that's what I'm calling it, or almost like a modified V-up crunch. And you're doing 10 of each, that equals 1, okay? So that's why it's called a progression. So the low, the medium, the high equals 1. Low, medium, high, 2. But you're doing 10 at each level. So 10, low, 10, medium, 10, high equals 1. 10, low, 10, medium, 10, high equals 2. You're doing 10, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops, sorry, middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. High. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 1 rep. You're doing 10. So that is a big reason why there's no part 2 on this one, because that's a lot of abs that you're doing. So that is going to take you a little while. The squat with circle raise doesn't really take that long. The Supermans don't really take that long. The lunge, lunge press, and the crunch progression will take you longer. So that's why, like I said, there's no part 2. If you're somebody who really struggles with crunches, I would do 10. I would still do a progression. And if you have to lower it to like 5-5-5 or lower it to 6-6-6, okay? Something like that. So basically, you're doing 100 of each in every single round. So it is a lot. So yeah, if you have to modify, or like start with the 10-10-10, and then maybe, you know, say you're gonna do 4 full rounds, maybe the last 2 rounds, lower your number or something like that. But I always encourage everybody to start highest, start the hardest, because you can always drop down. If you underestimate yourself and you start already dropped down, and then it was like really easy, then it's like you usually don't like bump yourself back up. You know what I mean? Usually if it's really hard, you're gonna bump yourself down. If it's kind of easy for you, but it's like, oh, well, this is like nice because I'm not struggling too bad, you usually stay there instead of recognizing like, hey, I can do more, and then bump yourself up. So I always want you to start hard and then go down if you have to. I'd rather you not start easy, if that makes sense. Unless you have an injury or whatever, you know, that's different. So that's your Tuesday.